Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the WitchCraft SMP. Uh, Today we are going to be making some magical armor. I'm looking forward to getting out of this iron and testing our metal against some, I guess bosses is the right word, some enemies from the spirit world. I'm your host, Elsewhere, as per the usual, and behind me, one of my coven witches is apparently wanting to be in the shot. Hi, Isa. Do you wanna say hi to the viewers? Yeah. All right. So let's get right down to this. I have been mentioning that I'm going to do this for a while, but for pretty much the entire duration of the server, I've been running around with random pieces of armor that I've picked up from villages. So it's about time that I got into a little bit witchier of an attire. So to do that, because normal witch gear is only made of leather, so it's not that good protection, there is, however, a way to upgrade it using the bark belt, which will grow pieces of bark on any impregnated leather armor that will then negate hits. So this is what we're going to be making today. Last time, after we convinced the Emperor of New Desertlandia that there is actually a threat to face here, we headed in search of an old dungeon and a portal from the ancient times, which we found, and in the process we grabbed a few silverfish that we can now use to make the central component of a bark belt. So, let's make a parasitic louse. I believe I stored, yeah, okay. So we're going to need one of these silverfish. We're going to need the mutating sprig. And we are going to need, I forgot to pull up the parasitic louse recipe again. Unfortunately, it's not in any of my books, so I have to look it up outside. That's right. I need a lily pad. So let's go in search of some lily pads. There is a swamp on the other side of Greenmount that I can use to fill that in. So let's just hop over here really quickly. We need the silverfish, 4 lily pads, graspers, which I have already back home. We need to charge an attuned stone and grab some tongue of dog and mutandis. So parasitic lice are really cool, and I'm actually going to make a couple while we're at it, because they have some interesting additional uses. They can be fed brews, they can be fed potions, and then when they bite someone, they will transfer the potion into that person. So this can be used defensively, you can use it as a trap or a troll against another player, and although we are currently at peace here in Stragaria, there's nothing to say that traps and trolls might not become relevant later on, so I figure it's best to be prepared. And with that, we should have all 8 lily pads. And we will begin our flight home. Let's see if the heralds are still here. I've barely used the ways recently. Yep, there they are. Because of these guys coming through wherever we've opened a gate. So I'm hoping that we can get the United Congress moving and assembled and everything, and that we might be able to. I'll grab some wool while I'm here as well. Ow! Never mind. The heralds are here, and that we can actually get a strong enough force assembled to go chase them back where they belong in their own home dimension. Where they can't, attack us and our villagers. To that end, I'm also thinking about constructing. Let me go for a soak in Gaia's tears. Constructing some golems to protect the villagers of Greenmount from this threat. Although, to be fair, they still don't seem to be hostile to the average resident. Only those of us who actually use the gates, or at least have used the gates in the past. And I don't believe any of my villagers have done so. Several of the goblins over in Goblin Town have, but Goblin Town doesn't have a waygate, which means that it's safe. Let's get a prediction of the future. I shall gaze into the future, and I will be finding coal. Oh, good. Because really, of all the resources that I need, coal is really one of them. I'm just in such dire straits when it comes to coal. All of these furnaces are filled with a stack. It's ridiculous. Anyway, 8 lily pads. Let's make 2 lice. So 2 critter snares, 8 lily pads. I'm going to need 2 charged attuned stones, which I already have prepared. 2 tongues of dog and 4 mutandis. And these 4 graspers. So let's grab the tongue of dog. And let's go over to the mutation area. Hi, Salem. All right. So this is one of this. I don't think I actually have this template yet. Yeah, I don't. Okay, so we're gonna need to make a new little mutation pit. It's similar to this one, but not quite. So let's dig it over here. 2, 3, Okay. And then there are 4 water. I think my brew of endless water. Oh, ow. Glitching. That's my favorite. My brew of endless water still has a few uses in it. 10. Okay, I'm actually getting low. So maybe I'll make a replacement on stream today. They're pretty cheap, but they're really convenient, so I've been using that for pretty much any time I need water. All right. Then in the around the edges, we need the graspers. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the center, the silverfish, ringed by the lily pads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Silverfish. And then we need mutandis and an attuned stone and the tongue of dog. If the mutandis goes in these 2 corners, the tongue of dog in that corner, and the attuned stone here. All right, now if I click this with my mutating sprig, we should have a parasitic louse. Ow. And I believe I can pick it up with an empty hand if I... Ow, 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 ow. Will you stop it? I created you. Show some respect. Got it. Okay. I have to be careful because if it gets hit at all, it will die. So the way these things work is if you craft them with a potion, I don't happen to have one on me at the moment, they will eat it, and then the next time it bites a player, that player will receive the effects of the potion. If the louse is on someone's hotbar and they get hit by a monster, then the louse will bite then too. So you can use it, if somebody attacks you, you can have a louse on your hotbar that's going to bite you and dispense a powerful protective potion. Or you can, give it to someone else and have it be a damaging or dangerous potion. But regardless, that's not what we're using for at the moment. We are still trying to create the biting belt, which is the same thing as just having a louse on your hotbar, except as a piece of equipment. That in and of itself is really cool, but as you may have noticed, anytime I fly, I take a little bit of fall damage. So I think that it would trigger any time I jumped more than a couple blocks in the air, which would make it not very useful for me in particular. Anyway, it doesn't increase your armor value nearly as much as a bark belt would, so we're skipping over it. We're just going to go straight to the next step. So now we need 5 impregnated leather, mellifluous hunger, which is taken by fighting a nightmare. If you go into the spirit world during a bad dream, there is a monster that will pursue you indefinitely, no matter how many times you kill it, even if you can kill it, which is very difficult, because it teleports around, it has a lot of health, it can only be damaged periodically. It's called a nightmare. And if you are able to kill it, it will drop mellifluous hunger, which is just a beautiful word. I love some of the names and descriptions in this mod. So yeah, and also the dichotomy of hunger that is pleasant to the ears is just such a weird description, but wonderful. Anyway, so I'll grab my hunger. Oh, I was gonna make a second. I'm so scatterbrained. How witchy of me. Let's make a second parasitic louse after all, in case we can think of something fun and or useful to do with it. Critter snare in the center, lily pads around the edge. These are actually pretty expensive to make because each, as you saw, the attuned stone is consumed by the process. So each of these is costing me a diamond plus the other scattered things that go into it. Tongue of dog, attuned stone, mutandis, and I need my sprig. Louse. And this one we're going to grab really quickly before it starts beating me up. Okay, great. Now have 2 lice. Do they stack? They do not stack. One of them is going to become part of our belt, and the other one we will store for later. Alright. Up here, I no longer need the sprig or the other louse. Alright, so, louse, hunger. I think I still have some golden thread that I spun, and I should have some impregnated leather, but I believe it's not quite enough. Actually, since it's nighttime, let's take a quick nap. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I have 3 impregnated leather, which means I'm going to have to make an additional batch of it. Oh, I have 4, so I'm only 1 short, but that still means a batch is necessary. So if we go in here, 4 whiff of magic, 1 diamond vapor, and 4 leather. This is a pretty... I've made this crafting recipe quite a few times. It goes into all of the witch-related gear, so... Actually, I think my leather is... Where is... Have I used all of my leather? Good heavens. Alright. In that case, let's quickly... Do I have any diamond vapor? I don't. So I'm going to set some diamond vapor to being made. Which is just... Oh, actually, there's one right here. I'll need more eventually anyway. I might as well make an extra batch. So I will distill a diamond with oil of vitriol to create more diamond vapor. I'll grab this one. I will grab 4 whiff of magic. And I will go pay a visit to my cow farm. Before I do that... So the Brew of Love is how I handle farming most of the time. It causes animals to breed immediately in large groups, which makes it a very fast and efficient way of getting both experience and more animals. So I think I'm actually going to make some of this before I go kill any of the cows in my farm for leather. So we need poppy, carrots, whiff of magic, lily pad, water artichoke, and cocoa beans. Let's see how much of this I actually have on hand. Clean up my inventory a little bit. Here are the cocoa beans. I have 4 lily pads. That's ingredient 4. The golden carrots I can make. Let's go for 4 batches of the Brew of Love because it's so useful. I actually, early on in the server, sold Brews of Love to most of the other countries, of other players, and that's how we all sort of got our farms started. I know I have poppies. And the whiff of magic, obviously, and water artichoke cloves. Alright, and 4 more whiff of magic. Okay. So for this, since I'm brewing in a kettle, I am going to put my witch's gear back on, and it seems like as good a time as any to start switching back over to my actual proper witchy equipment. Drop this in here, put Salem, you're on the chest. Could you just, thank you. Put these away. That look pretty snazzy. Okay. And I will grab some glass bottles from here. Okay, let's fill it up. And cast in Poppy. Oh, that is an ungolded carrot. I have some gold in here. Let's see, I'm gonna need to convert. Whoops, I was still in the middle of crafting some additional heart containers. Let's unclutter this. Get some nuggets, put those around, throw in the carrots. All right, then back to work. Golden carrot, whiff of magic, lily pad, water artichoke globe, and cocoa beans should produce, there we go. When you see those little white swirls instead of the black ones, it means that the brew has been successful. So, let's bottle and see how many we get. 6, nice. I'm getting very low on this brew of endless water, so I'll definitely have to make some more. As soon as that's boiling, we will toss in Poppy, carrot, whiff, lily pad, water artichoke, and cocoa. And there we go. 2, 3, water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And fill it up one last time for some brews of love. These are one of my favorite shortcuts that Witchery offers. It makes the process of breeding animals much, much faster and cleaner. All right, so with that down, I will put this away, take the brews of love, and we will fly over to my cow farm for some leather. Hey, 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 get back here. Naughty broom, trying to escape. All right. Hello, sheep. Hello, cows. I don't actually have any shears on me. I could use my bowline, but it does take up time to recover, so. All right, and now grab a brew of love and toss it down there. Hi, did you just jump onto the roof? I'm impressed. I'm impressed. You two have fun. All right, and there should be some XP down here for me to collect. And apparently eggs, because thanks to my extremely overcrowded chicken farm over here, which apparently there is a cow on doing an exchange program too, there are just eggs and chickens scattered all over Greenmount. It's very harmonious. All right, before I take any more, I will just toss down 1 or 2 more brews so that we can have a whole large generation of future cows. Actually, see if there are any who have wandered out of the farms that I can start with. You, how much? Oh, wow, that's just all of the leather I need automatically. Well, sweet, I won't complain. Using the very powerful looting sword has its advantages. Are you here? Okay. I will put you out of your difficulties. Take a couple of them with me. 8 leather, that's good. That means I can make multiple sets of impregnated leather. So the cool thing about Witch's gear, anything made with impregnated leather in Witchery, is that it does not have a limit. Most equipment in Minecraft has a limit on the number of times you can repair it, because you repair it using an anvil and it costs more experience each time, yada yada. For Witch's gear, however, although it costs impregnated leather, which is expensive, as you can see, it costs half a diamond, some leather, some burnt rowan trees, etc., and some clay. You can still repair it indefinitely. So if I take off my slippers, put them in here with, I think, 3? Yeah. You can see that it will repair it. And obviously I'm not going to do that now because it has a lot more durability. But it means that I can repair this as much as I want without losing, without spending XP or without eventually getting destroyed. So, first step, impregnated leather. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll throw my leftover leather back where it belongs, in here. Then the biting belt. It's pants shaped. And that should give us the biting belt. Amazing. But we are going to skip right over that, and we are going to go for the bark belt. So I now need 4 brews of flowing spirit, 2 ant twigs, an emerald, and a creeper heart. This is good. I actually recently looted a creeper heart from an enemy I killed, so that's working out. Let me throw some of this dirt in here, this extra glintweed. So and these eggs. The thing about flowing spirit, and why it's difficult to make, is that it can only be brewed in the spirit world. Now seems like as good a time as any to take you on a quick trip there. Just so, hey, stop that. Just so you can see the process. So when one travels to the spirit world, one does so using a brew of sleeping. This is my sleeping hut. When you first travel there, you are... Oh, wow, we're getting low. Okay, so I need to actually make some replacement brews of sleeping soon. Maybe I'll do that this stream. When you travel to the spirit world, all of your equipment is left behind. And you have a very high chance of entering a bad dream, as I mentioned earlier with the nightmare. However, there are ways you can mitigate that. This is a Dreamweaver of Nightmares, which reduces the likelihood. These are wispy cotton. They grow in the spirit world, so they also reduce it. And these 3 are pools of flowing spirit, just like Gaia's Tears. As you can see, it heals me, just like these that I have in my inventory. So combined, all of these things lead to a 100% chance, or close to it, of a good dream. And here we are, in the spirit world. So the equipment that you can see it's a completely different inventory. That's because this is all stuff that I have acquired while in the spirit world. My old inventory remains with my body in the waking world. If we were to manifest, we could actually see my body sleeping in that hut. And my other equipment that I have in here stays with my astral form. However, certain magics, such as my infusion, as you can see I still fly, carry over. And this will be your first introduction to the village of Nier. This is my extremely half-hearted altar in here. I needed a little bit in order to run my kettle. This is my shop. Last time I was here, I kind of burnt it down, which I'm planning to fix when I get the chance, but I was sort of interrupted by the whole crisis with the heralds bursting through and the ways falling apart and dimensional incursions and politics and stuff. Do I have any mail? I got a poem. That's nice. Only the ice sits as a gritty mountain. How does the gravel not sit? Alas, how the lush field softly thinks. Raindrops herd the wind after the serene balance, harshly, but mindlessly. Okay. Anyway, once the world is safe from incursion, I will come back and I will rebuild my shop. There used to be a sign here saying the witch from somewhere else, which is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to getting set up and being able to sell some magic to the people of Nier, just like I do to the people of Greenmount and further afield. In the meantime, though, we can come down here, see my Spanish moss, and see my brewing setup. Here's my cauldron. Here is my spinning wheel, my distillery, my kettle. This is all the equipment that you need in order to brew flowing spirit. So I might as well pull up the recipe. So it requires fanciful thread, which is spun out of odor of purity and wispy cotton. Wispy cotton grows here in the spirit world, easy enough to find, but you do have to create new tandis in order to make hawthorn saplings so that you can make the odor of purity. and then spin it in the wheel. You also need Spanish moss, glintweed, which both come from using Mutandis on plants, wool of bat, which as you know comes from killing bats, mandrake, and water artichoke, which you can get the seeds for from breaking grass. So you basically need to get a full setup. You need a cauldron for the Mutandis, you need an altar for the kettle, you need a distillery, you also need the altar for the distillery, and you need access to certain witchery plants. But if you can gather them all, you can then brew flowing spirit in a kettle in the spirit world, and it is the essence of the spirit world. It will, to any living creature, it will provide a regeneration buff. To any undead, it will apply weakness. And it can be further distilled back in the waking world into hollow tears, condensed fear, and focused will, all of which are very useful for a variety of recipes. So while we're here, let me grab some of these subdued spirits. They're one of the few resources that can actually travel back with you, and I'll grab a few extra brews of flowing spirit in case we need to craft with them. You can see my equipment, my various equipment here. And it's raining in the spirit world and snowing. You can see around here there are some unusual structures. I don't believe that the creator of these structures is currently in Nier, but hopefully you guys will meet her soon. She has been very kind enough to let me set up shop here, and oh, hang on, I can't wake up without an icy needle. Let me go get one. She's been very kind to allow me to set up shop here and visit Nier and everything, and she has traded with me and given me gifts and things. So in exchange, I respect her territory, which is everything around here. And I do my best to... Ow. What was that? Ow. What is shooting me? Oh, it's a skeleton. They're everywhere. Come on, I just want an icy needle. Is that so much to ask? Come on. I just want to wake up. I still don't have one. Hey, don't you dare mess up her garden. She will be very upset with me. I don't like messing with... Oh, hey, spirit. Get back here. I do not want to risk her displeasure when she has been so amicable in allowing me to visit the spirit world and take advantage of its many goodies. Oh dear, that's a mess. Surely I have a hoe. Ow, don't. Monsters are usually not present in the spirit world, but when it rains, sometimes they come out. Or during a nightmare. I don't suppose she has a hoe here I could borrow. I really don't have one in my inventory. Okay, I'm going to have to make one. I need to clean up this mess, because if she sees that I have made a mess of her garden, she will be very unhappy. And I would prefer to avoid that if at all possible. Alright. Just going to borrow a hoe, if she has one here. Yes, okay. Sorry, thank you. I will return it. See if we can get this, subdue this spirit. Come on. I just need one good... Did I get it? I didn't get it. Man, they are such a hassle. The reason I'm collecting these is because spirits from the spirit world are a major component in summoning more powerful spirits in the waking world, like specters and poltergeists and banshees, which is something that I want to do later. I've mentioned that my house is protected by spirit guardians, and I find them very useful, and I would like to continue collecting more that can assist me either by protecting the house or traveling with me as guards in case I need assistance, in case I get attacked. Come on, surely there we go. Got the needle. We'll plant this It did not, did it? There we go, okay. Plant this. That should regrow soon. Garden looks untouched. Okay. And I will prick myself with this needle in order to wake up. And we're back. Okay. And as you can see, we brought with us additional brews of floating spirit and the subdued spirits. It is raining in the waking world as well. Let's head down, sleep through the night, and then we will get to work on this belt. And then we'll get to do what I'm looking forward to testing out the belt on. Okay. We've been to the spirit world. We have shown brews of flowing spirit. We also need an emerald, which is not difficult. I trade with both my villagers and my hobgoblins, so I have access to plenty. And the creeper heart, which is a little bit more difficult to get. And then the ent twigs. So ent twigs are received when you defeat an ent, which I have had to do several of because I have cut down a number of magical trees. I've always replanted at least as many as I cut down. That's my policy. But it still angers the ents sometimes, and then I'm forced to fight them because they're extremely powerful, extremely tough, and will hassle me for a while if I do not. So, biting belt in the center, twigs on either side, soak it in brew of flowing spirit, work an emerald into the buckle and a creeper heart, and we have a bark belt. Swap it out, and I am now officially fully decked out in witch's gear. Let's put these pants away in the chest. Store the brew of flowing spirit here. Oh, actually, I should put... Oh, sorry, Salem. You can stay seated. Subdued spirit here as well. Store the brew of love up here and the impregnated leather down here, and I can put away my circle magic book. All right. So if I go outside now and stand on the grass, let's see if oh, it's already started. Bark is now growing over my leather clothing. And you can see, if you look down at my armor bar, the little sticks crossing across the armor, those indicate bark armor. And each time I take a hit, a certain number of bark armor will be destroyed. Is that the map? Oh, no, it goes up higher. I think it can go up to 8. But we'll stand here a moment longer and see. Wow, I look pretty cool, actually. I'm on the witchy warpath. Wow, look at that. That's awesome. So if I take damage now, I think fall damage counts. So let's just fly really high in the air. Nope, that one hits me directly. Stop burning down the moss. Okay, so in that case, let's try finding somebody angry to hit me. I guess I shouldn't have slept through the night. Oh, no, I know who can hit me. Let's go find a herald. I'm pretty sure Wither will cut through, but oh, hey. Hi, you're an owl. You're one of my owls. You don't belong down here. What are you doing down here? Are you in power pose, or will you... hang on. If I push you onto the tree, I need you to indicate to me whether you're in power pose or not. Can you do that for me? Where'd you go? Oh. Will you land just for a moment? It would be very helpful. Thank you. Oh, no. Well, I did say just for a moment. All right, I'm going to fly over to the owl pen and see if you follow me so that I can put you in there, where you will be safe from mobs and other things. Eventually, I am planning on moving the owl pen from here to the post office. One of the buildings in Greenmount is going to become Owl Mail Post Office. But for now, let's see if I can get our fine feathered friend. Are you all in power? You're in power pose. You are not in power pose. Are you? See, they change when I click on them. You're trouble. That's what you are. You're trouble. Well, okay, fine. If you want to follow me around for the rest of the day, that's fine too. Just please don't get killed by the Horned Huntsman. Alright. With the owls at least theoretically away, let's go see if the Herald punching me takes away some of my bark armor instead of cutting through to my soft underbelly. This should be of great service in fighting both the enemies that we're going to challenge a little later today, as well as the powerful ones that we've seen in the end. Hi, what do you think? Oh, there it is. That's okay. So those sticks that are dropping are my bark armor falling off. I love that. That's hilarious. And you can see, if you look down left again on my armor bar, I now have fewer sticks. That's very cool. My durability is still doing fine. Okay. Well, that's very exciting. The next thing I want to test before we actually put this armor into action is if I can enchant the bark belt. I think that I can, because you can enchant the rest of the witch's gear, but I'm going to have to make sure. Also, I will say my experience bar is not currently empty, even though it looks like it, because after you travel to the spirit world and back, there is a small glitch that causes your experience bar to look empty until you gain experience. So I'm just going to run down here and grab some essence berries, which I will eat to give myself levels, and then you'll see my experience bar again. As you can see, I have enough that I could probably get to level 30 anyway. But yeah, there you go. We're at level 21. So let's eat a few more of these. And there we go. Okay. We're at level 30. We'll fly back on up to my enchanting table, and we will put the belt in and see if we can get... I've gotten not very impressive enchantments on my witch's gear so far. My necromancer's robes do have protection 4, but they also have thorns, which means that their durability will run down really quickly. That still might be the better one to wear than the robes that I currently have. I'm not sure. I have to think about it. As you can see, fire protection 4, unbreaking 3 is nice, but not superbly useful. And my hat is just projectile protection 4, so big whoop. Again, fire protection 4, unbreaking 3. I really need protection, so let's see if the bark belt can give me that. Yes, it's enchantable. Moment of truth. And it's going to be fire protection again. Almost as useless. Blast protection 4, unbreaking 3. Not thrilled. That being said, I have a strong experience farm down in the caves below. If I need to, I can just enchant all of these by hand with the anvil and my various books. So next time you see me with this armor, it may have a lot more enchantments on it. We'll see. Cordelia, I need to get outside if you don't... I will summon you if I have to, Cordelia. Come on. There we go. Where did you go? Are you in the oven? Salem sometimes crawls into the oven. Regardless, I can now get out of the house. Let's stand on the grass for a minute so we can see my my bark armor recharge. Oh, nice. Now that it's enchanted, the bark glistens too with the enchantment effect. That's very nice. All right. Oh, and there is one more piece of equipment that I'd like to improve before we go out, and that's the sword. Obviously, I haven't used this sword in a long time. Ever since I came to Strigaria, I left my old warrior life behind me, but it's still doing well. I think it could use a bit of sharpening up. So, I am going to make a block of diamond, and I'm going to make an enchanted golden apple. And we are going to, let's grab some quartz. A lot of quartz. And we are going to sharpen my old blade until it is as good as new. Let's make sure, yep, it's currently maxed out. But with this, I can now sharpen it up with some more quartz, which we are going to do. So you can see we're already at plus 22 attack damage. So we put this through the tool forge. And there it is. At its most powerful, this cutlass, the Old Ways, can deal 24 damage, which is 12 hearts, or enough to one-shot the vast majority of mobs. I think because of their natural armor, zombies might still survive this. Night is coming on soon, so we can always test that. But because it's a cutlass, it also has a chance of landing critical hits, so it can sometimes even get them in one shot. So I'm fully bark armored. I'm wearing my witch's gear. I have my freshly sharpened sword. And now I'm going to show you what we're going to do today. So these wicker bundles, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. These wicker bundles can be used in a very old, very simple ritual in order to summon a powerful creature from the spirit world called a horned huntsman. But first, I need to douse them in demon blood, which sounds very wholesome, I know. I need 4 demon blood. I have 2. I'm going to grab this demon heart. I will just make a new batch of blood, which requires a diamond vapor. So it turned out to be good that I made the extra vapor in the first place. So this will distill quickly. I'll put away my extra vapor and odor. And momentarily we will have the demon blood we need in order to summon a huntsman. All right. Let's see, is there anything else that I suppose we might also spend some time creating golems for the villagers of Greenmount, but I admit that I'm a little worried if we do so that they'll just be killed by the heralds very quickly. So that could be a problem. Anyway, 4 demonic blood as needed, and some extra refined evil, which I can put over here and use for a drop of luck later. Alright, and now we coat the bundles, and we have 20 bloodied wicker bundles. It's night. Night is not the best time to be doing this. Let's sleep, get a full meal in our dreams in the spirit world, and then we will return. Alright. So we're heading over to the plateau as usual. This is where I fight all, bosses, all powerful enemies that I'm going to summon. Anything especially dangerous, I do it over here to protect Greenmount and my home from any, consequences. Hello, Balthazar. How you doing? Things good up here? Let's fly on down here. I have an area. There it is. As you can see from the beanstalk that I grew with the brew of sprouting, this is the area that I usually fight them in. Alright, and this is the setup I have for building a wicker man. So you can't just scatter these bundles in any specific way, you have to make a figure. So, let's get to it. Alright, that's the head. Then, I believe the legs are like this. Yes. Hands. Oops. Actually, yes. I think that's correct. Legs up to here. Then I need. Actually, wait. These are the arms, so they need to be sideways, but the rest can go normally like this. Arms, shoulders. Whoops, arms, shoulders, and with that, we have created a wicker man. All right. Now for the fight. So normally I don't mind saying when I've summoned these in the past, I have typically flown up onto here and hidden by my beanstalk away from their attacks, and then fought them remotely with the razor feathers. But I'm here to train, I'm here to prepare, to test out my sword, so we are going to fight this one bravely to its face. And hopefully my new armor will prevent this from going horribly wrong. So let us create some. I am struggling with the branch today. All right, let's create some fire. Well, hello there. You are very intimidating, my friend. And here we go. Ow, okay. Oh, of course, his weapon, which has already destroyed my entire second health bar, is made of wood, which is the only kind of weapon that can pierce wooden armor, like the stuff that I've grown on myself. That was foolish of me. All right, I may have to go back to my cowardly flight tactics and fight him from range. Wow, he regenerates health very quickly. And he is continuing to shoot me. Well, this has gone horribly wrong. Promise, this is not how it usually goes. All right. If you want to fight dirty, I will fight dirty. I have my shurikens. Let's do this. I can just machine gun you with razor feathers like a Stymphalian bird. And then once he's low, I'll fight him with the sword. This should have occurred to me sooner that I was creating exactly the wrong kind of armor to fight. Hang on, let me pick those up. Where'd you go? There you go. Ow. Come on. Oh, interesting. It appears his arrows can be blocked by wooden armor. Or maybe that was... Ow. Yeah, I am successfully blocking his arrows, so that's good at least. Continue barraging him with feathers until... Oh, sorry, dog. I mean, I have to fight you because you're being summoned by the huntsman to kill me, but still, I'm a dog person. I feel badly about it. See if I can just get him low enough to finish him off with the sword. Come on, come on. Oh, no, I super can't. Well, this is what I get for being audacious and thematic. Up through the roof we go. Fortunately, it is not a long flight by hand. Unbelievable. I have defeated so many huntsmen at this point, and I do it by standing on a tree and throwing feathers at them, and I'm trying to engage him in glorious single combat, and he has the audacity to kill me. You can never trust fairies. Alright, so my equipment should all be around here. If I can get my sword, or my shurikens, that works. Just let's finish this already. Okay. So, as you can see, he actually let me grab all my stuff before it despawns. As you can see, he drops yellow heart, as all bosses do with Tinker's Construct in play. 1 demonic blood to make up a little bit for the blood you spent acquiring him, and some wither skulls. In this case, I got all 3, which means that I can summon and fight. Goodbye. Summon and fight an entire wither as a result of this fight, which is very exciting. Nether stars are quite valuable. They are really good for brewing. They're good for a variety of crafting recipes, and they can be used to make null catalyst, which are a powerful and useful material for anti-magic. You guys met our resident witch hunter, Justify, the other day. All of his gear is made using null catalyst, which as a result means that magic is not effective against him. Okay, so let's put our gear back on. The knapsack, the belt, the gloves, the robes, hat, belt, and shoes. He also drops enchantments, enchanted books, fire protection 4, just to rub it in, the fact that my gear will protect me wonderfully from fire and very little from anything else. Sword, shurikens, bread, my keys, my branch, my pickaxe, my witch hand, staff, and the way cutter up there. Bolts. Okay. With all that sorted, to make, I realize I didn't show this part, but to make one of those wicker bundles that I had standing by, it costs 9 saplings, which in and of itself doesn't seem that much. Unfortunately, you then have to make 20 of them, which is 180 saplings, or 3 stacks, more or less, give or take. So I have had to chop down a few forests, which I immediately replanted, just to get enough saplings in order to summon the huntsman. Occasionally they do drop. The other reason I was attempting to slay it with my sword is that my sword has looting on it. And they will occasionally drop their spears, which are a valuable and powerful magic weapon that, again, because they're wood, they can bypass bark armor, they can bypass the thorns that a powerful witch can summon on herself. Generally speaking, it's a very useful piece of gear to have. This has also not exactly inspired the most confidence in me for the dragon fight, although admittedly against the dragon and his heralds, I at least have the advantage of the bark armor, which was not at all active here. So we're going to come down here. I don't think I have a lot in the way of saplings. Yeah, I don't have remotely enough to summon another, so I won't make you guys watch as I chop down and replant an entire forest just to summon another huntsman to battle. Instead, let's fight a wither. See if we can pick up another star. So when fighting a wither, I don't exactly fight fair, as you may have probably guessed from my general style. I like to create a potion that will allow me to fight it magically. So if I throw this in here with that, all of that stuff is beef goes in here. I need 4 soul sand. And let's get out the Witch's Brews book. Alright, so the specific effect that I tend to use to fight the wither is a level 2 effect, somewhere in here, Undead Bane, which causes a little, it'll damage anyone in the area, but it deals a lot of damage to the undead. So I need to collect some pumpkins, unless I already have some. Great. Let's make a couple of these brews, because one is definitely not enough to kill a wither, and actually I usually supplement it with my weapons. So, Undead Bane is capacity 2, meaning that if we go in through to the how to custom brew page, we'll start with capacity from a nether wart. And then we will, I don't think we need any modifiers on this one. We're not going to be drinking it. We're actually going to create a gas brew. And we don't care about any of these. So we will just skip right to power. I usually go to level 3 because level 4 requires a charged attuned stone, which is a lot of work. It costs a diamond. So level 3 is good for most brews, which is glowstone and a blaze rod. And then for duration, the same thing. I don't actually have mindrakes, which are mandrakes that have been mutated with creepers to turn into exploding mandrakes, which is basically the most horrible thing anyone can think of. I haven't made them because they're a bit chaotic and dangerous to make, and I'm also not in a huge rush for it. ×4 duration is usually sufficient for most of mine. So we need glowstone, blaze rod, redstone, and obsidian. I'll grab those really quickly. Glowstone. blaze rod, redstone, and then obsidian. Swap these two. Then we add our effect, which, as we already know, is Undead Bane. And this time I am going to be... Oh, hang on. I'm making a gas brew. I don't actually need redstone and obsidian because duration doesn't apply to a gas brew. Instead, we have something called lingering. But before that, extent. This causes the resulting cloud of gas to be larger. And the reason that I'm doing a gas brew instead of, say, a splash potion or liquid, which is also an option, is that when you throw a gas brew, it fills the room with magical gas that causes the effect that you're creating. So in this case, it will fill the room with a gas that damages the undead. I'm getting low on cocoa beans. I'm going to have to harvest some. Dispersal, extent, now lingering, belladonna, and lapis. And this incredibly expensive level 4, I will probably do no more than 4 times the entire time that I create potions, because it's such a limited resource, and those 4 times will be for a specific purpose that you will probably see much, much later. So anyway, let's grab some belladonna, grab some lapis lazuli, lapis lazuli, and we will set the dispersal method, which in this case is wool of bat for a gas dispersal. These are the kinds that you can do. You can, if you don't add a dispersal method, it's just a normal drinking potion. If you add gunpowder or a water artichoke globe, it becomes a splash potion. Gas, as previously mentioned. If you add wormwood, which is a mutated plant I'm growing outside that requires elements from the spirit world, you can actually create a liquid brew. It doesn't last indefinitely, but for a short while, basically you create a source block of a liquid that causes whatever effect the potion does. It's very cool, it's very fun. It's not practical for a lot of uses, but it's still something that you'll see me do at some point. And then last of all, and most interesting, you can create a trigger effect. You brew the potion, and then you throw it at any kind of redstone activator, and as you can see, buttons, levers, doors, pressure plates, and then the next person who activates that block will receive the effect of the potion, which I think is very cool and absolutely is going to be used for some traps, trolls, tricks, etc. later on. But for now, it's not useful in fighting a wither. So I'm just going to grab some wool of bat, and we're going to take this potion and we are going to brew it. So custom brewing does require altar power. See how my altar is doing at the moment. It's full, but it won't be momentarily. All right, start with another wart for capacity, glowstone and blaze rod for power, a pumpkin for the undead bane. Then we'll add wood ash and cocoa beans for extent, belladonna and lapis for lingering, and finally we will set the dispersal to gas with wool of bat, and I will forget to grab glass bottles. Alright, here goes. And with that, we have created a gas brew of Undead Bane with level 3 on all of its attributes. And let's fill this back up with my brew of endless water, and let's do it again. We have to first make sure we have enough power. As you can see, that this brew does not take up a lot of power. Some of the ones that I've made, like my Space Mead, I can only make periodically because the altar has to recharge after each one. In this case, I can just jump right in as soon as the cauldron is bubbling, which it is. Nether wart, power, undead bane, extent, lingering, gas. And there we go. 2 gas brews of undead bane, which should be enough when combined with my shurikens. Oh, what perfect timing. That was the last use of my brew of endless water. So I will actually make one more of those before we head out. We've got time. We've only been streaming for an hour. Let's see. It's under effects, I believe. Is it level 4? I think it is. Level 4. Let's see. It's under effects, I believe. Is it level 4? 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 Is it No. Is it level... It's not level 1. Level 1 has combustion. Yeah. There are a couple special brews hidden in here. The brew of combustion, which can be used as fuel in a furnace, and the brew of endless water. There it is. Alright, I need a block of snow. And the only effect that matters for the brew of endless water is capacity and power. So I need netherwort. Actually, do I have an extra brew? I know, I really don't. I've used it all. Okay, great. Then this is perfect. I need netherwort, glowstone, a blaze rod, and a block of snow, which I happen to have some here for this exact purpose. I will swap out for my glass bottles, head down, and let's brew us some endless water. Here we go, and this is one of those cauldron recipes that will complete itself. Should momentarily give me a 50-use bottle of endless water. There we go. If I upgraded it the rest of the way to level 4, it would have 100 uses, I believe, but again, that costs an attuned stone, and I would much rather make them twice as frequently than spend an entire attuned stone just for 50 extra uses from one bottle. Alright. So with that, let's put away this glass bottle. We've got my ender chest and the way cutter. We have the material for the wither. We have the brew. I will just step through here, put away my book, head down into the secret chamber. If anybody from this server is watching right now, close your eyes. Through here. Where does this... here we go. Put away my hammer. And head back out. At the moment, I guess the blast protection that we have on this belt is actually going to be a little useful for once. The way that we're going to fight this wither is, again, we are going to cheat, basically. We are going to head over... Actually, while we're at it, I'm going to grab some iron. Because we are going to pay a visit to the Emperor of New Desertlandia, who at the moment is not at his capital, which means that we can head on in and borrow his smeltery. When you use a Tinker's Construct smeltery to process ore, you get twice as much. And since I want to make some iron golems for the villagers, I figure we'll take along this iron, we'll throw it in the smeltery, we'll cast out some blocks, and then we'll be able to make those with my pumpkin, with the help of my pumpkin garden. I do look forward to the day that we successfully slay the dragon, save the place in the ways, and then we can actually start using the ways again, because I did build them to facilitate fast travel, and now we have the mild inconvenience of incredibly powerful monsters that can't even be killed using the death curse guarding them and preventing us from actually accessing them. Alright, we're closing in. There is a bit of a, I suppose, thematic conflict in the fact that I am... Oh, there's a golem. At the moment... Oh, hang on, I can actually use this portal. I don't have to go all the way. In that I have just put on armor designed to make me like a tree. But I spend most of my time either in the sky or in other dimensions. I guess I am in some ways like a tree. I love the water. I love the air. Let's head through here. And we should be able to use the highway. You can see there on my mini-map, the portal to the Sandless Dune is just over... here. I know how to directions. Alright, so let's hop through here. I'm also taking a little bit of time so that my feathers can regrow. As you can see, they've already gone up by a few, but we want as many as we can get in order to actually fight the Wither. So let's sneak into the palace here. Hi, Archimedes. I'm sure this is a crime, but whatever. Alright, does he have any iron in here? He does. He has 89 ingots, 6 nuggets, and 8 millibuckets. So I need to be careful to leave that much, so I'm going to write it down really quick. I-89, N6, MB8. And I will throw all of these in. Alright, those will cook. I will throw in the next stack. Once those are done, I'll throw in the last stack, and then we'll go fight a Wither. And then when we come back, we'll spend... Actually, here, hang on. The iron, I'll start casting now and then refill up to the amount of iron that he has. Let's see, we want the iron on the bottom. Let us begin. I am aware of how to use all of the Tinker's equipment, even though I don't actually have a smeltery and stuff set up in my area. I wanted to focus on witchery, but I am hearing tell that in Greenmount there is a blacksmith that's going to be setting up shop pretty soon. So if you guys are interested in seeing me put together smeltery, the process that actually getting started in Tinker's, then I may do that using that setup. All right, those are almost through. Pick these up, and here they go. Perfect. Loads more iron. Loads more iron. Wow, I'm going to get a lot of blocks from this. This is exciting. All right, do that. And while you're doing that, that will cook. And then I'll throw in... Can I get any? Yeah, I can get half of it. Okay. Keep casting some blocks. I don't think that the hobgoblins over in Goblin Town really need iron golems to protect them. Not least of which reason is probably because they would fight iron golems. But not only can they defend themselves, most monsters don't seem to have too many issues with them. They can coexist all right with spiders and undead, even creepers. Alright, these are all melting down. One of my favorite aspects of Tinker's is that if we go outside, we should actually be able to see the blocks. Yep, there they are. They've all been packed into the smeltery, and they're currently being melted down for their parts. The level is slowly increasing of molten metal down below. Obviously because Emperor Julian has converted his smeltery into a bit of a chimney, we don't get to see in the same way as if it were open air, but you can see a little bit through here. If you look through the lava tanks, you can see some of the molten metal in there that's being stored. Let's make more of these and throw in the last amount. Okay, that's everything that... So put this... Alright. So while those are all finishing up, let me grab these. We'll let that all melt down and everything, and we are going to head and fight our Wither. And by fight, I mostly mean imprison it in obsidian and then poison it to death with magic. But, like I said, I'm not much of a warrior. I prefer to think and have a plan, and then use that plan in order to solve problems. So if we fly up here, you'll see that we have created, as you can see by my little waypoint, this is a Wither room, courtesy of Emperor Julian. and this setup will allow us to kill the wither with minimal fuss, minimal muss, and minimal coconuts. Drop this in here. After all, we are creating a horrific undead golem using dark magic just so that we can gain control of the crystallized magic that becomes its heart. So yeah, that's the kind of thing you don't want getting out and rampaging all over your home. Should explode momentarily. There we go. All right. Now we get close and shurikens. And this should be able to take it down. There we go, to that point, at which point I swap to the brew, which should create a lovely cloud that kills the undead. When that runs down, as it's starting to do, you can see the wither is still kind of stuck up in the bedrock being one of the few, if actually only blocks, I think, that it can't break. Its regeneration is starting to outpace the effect of the gas. So, but I also can't run in there because the gas is toxic to me as well. Actually, that is close enough that I think I can finish it with my sword. Yes! Amazing! That makes up a little bit for the getting completely wrecked by the horned huntsman earlier. Alright, we only needed one of the gas brews. Somewhere around here, there will be a nether star. Let's see if I can collect it. Where is the nether star? There it is. Also, as a courtesy to Emperor Julian, whose wither room I am using, I'm going to rebuild the floor a little bit, rebuild the obsidian lock that it destroyed in its second phase, all of that jazz. I can only find... There it is. That's all 4 of the obsidian. So if we put that down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then fill in some of this netherrack. All right. Not the most exciting boss fight ever, but it's effective, and it enables us to harvest a lot of nether stars very quickly. Oh, there's the yellow heart. I'd completely forgotten about that. At this point, I have more than enough yellow hearts to finish my 3rd health bar. The only problem getting in the way of that is the fact that it also costs an exorbitant amount of gold, and a less exorbitant amount of diamonds. That is still a lot, but at this point I do have a solid amount of diamonds sitting around to be used. So gold has become the main problem. I actually recently went on a mining trip, and I came back and smelted all of my gold in Emperor Julian's smeltery so that I would get twice as much. And it still only came out to a single heart container. So eventually, you can see right now the 2 extra yellow hearts over my orange hearts on my bar. Eventually the rest of that will fill in. There was I think the floor was already pretty hollow. There was less netherrack here than I thought. Let's just do a little bit of the surroundings. I think that seems like the best way. I can harvest some extra. I have a very fast pickaxe. Let's see how quickly this goes through netherrack. Wow, that's intimidating. Okay. Extra 35 netherrack. We'll clean up the floor, and then we will be on our way. Well, as far as combat training goes, I think we had ups and downs. Whoops, that's in the way. But overall, we got ourselves a new nether star, so that's always good. And we defeated a huntsman, got another fire protection book. If I never see fire protection again, I will be too soon. And most importantly of all, we made our new equipment. I can see our robes are taking a little bit of damage, so I will have to repair those using some of the extra impregnated leather we have, but that's quite all right. Let's fill in the floor. Alright, that's close enough. We mostly fight them from this side anyway. Alright. That we can head home with our prize. And see if there is anything else. Yes, let's collect the rest of our iron from the smeltery before we go. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't challenge me. Good. The Hellhounds left me alone. They're usually pretty chill, but sometimes you can set them off if you move too close to them. Alright, how much iron is in here at the moment? 224 ingots. At 9 per block, I can make I need to have 89 left. So that's 135, which comes out to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. About 13 blocks. Wonderful. So I will get to making those. All right, and I think that that will be where we wrap today. It's been a pretty short stream, but I will be back multiple times this upcoming week. I'm going to revisit the spirit world in order to gather some more materials so that I can summon some specters, as previously mentioned, to protect me. I'm also planning on summoning a flame imp and making a bargain with him so that he can make my mystic branch more powerful. And of course, we need to brew some new space mead. That's the other reason to go back into the spirit world, to make more flowing spirit so that I can brew enough space mead for the entire group. Assuming, of course, that people actually join me in my quest to fight the dragon. And to that end, at some point this week, Gaia willing, we will have the United Congress assembled with everybody who is currently living in Stragaria, all of the community leaders, in order to discuss the threat of the dragon, see what we can do about it, and hopefully go defeat it and clear the ways of its malign influence. So, thank you all so much for watching today. I really hope you enjoyed. If there is anything in particular that you would like to see in the Witchery mod, in Tinker's Construct, anything that you would like me to explain that you've either heard of or that you've seen me do, feel free to comment on any of these streams or on the YouTube videos that these VODs will become before long. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed, and I will be seeing you soon.